3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running.
Whether you've been married 1 or 20 plus years, at some point, you realized you were married into crazy.
And that's what our podcast is all about. We offer love, laughter, and a dose of reality as we unpack this crazy thing called marriage.
So sit back, relax, and get your ear hustle on. It's time to start the conversation.
All right, let's go.
Welcome to episode 196 of the Married into Crazy podcast with Snooks and Lovey. I'm Lovey.
I'm Snooks. Do you know where you are?
I know.
Because I'm like, what's going on with you?
I'm feeling off. I don't know what's going on. We want to welcome everybody back. So as you know, we had a podcast that happened last week and the week before and the week before and the week before. But last week we talked about the Eric Moran situation. AKA
Ricky Williams, for y'all that are like, who is Eric Moran? So anyway, go ahead.
Right. So Eric Moran changed his name. That was the last podcast. And I just want to jump into this real quick. There were some responses that came. Everyone is so shy. They don't want to leave their voices. But we had a couple of people respond, well, more than a couple, but we had a few people respond. And it was interesting. It was like they didn't do it, meaning the husband changed the name to the wife's name, but they all knew, well, the people that responded knew somebody. One person said that her daughter's best friend was in a situation where her daughter's best friend's husband took her daughter's friend's
last name.
Yep.
Good for him.
That was a husband one. There were two other people that actually responded, that said that they also knew it. One person's cousin actually, she said, yeah, my cousin made her husband take her last name. And I'm like, okay, well, she made him take the last name. That's gangster. It's one thing if like there's a reason, whatever. It's like, nah, man, you going to take my name.
I still find it, I guess that I still find it so medieval, kind of like, I don't know, not medieval, but just like if gender roles are changing, and I know that we did a podcast before about gender roles and stuff, but the roles are really changing in marriages. Before, the men stayed home, went to work. Now there are a lot of men who are house dads or house husbands or whatever, and they're the ones that are taking care of the kids while the wife goes out and she makes the money or whatever. So if that is the case, why are we so stuck on we have to have, I want to even say we have to have the same last name, but why are we so stuck on I have to take your last name?
I felt like we had a plan for a podcast, but I feel like we're going to go in a different direction today.
Oh, okay.
Well, I feel like we're talking about the demasculinization of men to a certain extent, but because you keep talking about, these gender roles, and I guess it is kind of tied to gender roles.
I was getting ready to say, well, I was thinking gender roles, but rules also apply. But for me, it boils down to that. I feel like, okay, because
hold on.
Oh, okay.
We're about to go deep, and I'm just gonna say before we jump in, hold your thought.
Okay, I better write it down.
No. Right? No, what we want to do before we get started is actually have everybody. You guys are like, well, it's just getting good. What y'all getting ready to do now? No, I want to remind everybody before we continue to please go over to Apple Podcasts or Spotify and leave a 5-star review, and go ahead and so leave a review and a 5-star rating. I should put it that way. And then since you're already online, go over to marriedintocrazy.com. Go ahead and get some gear. There's a store there. If you feel so compelled, go ahead and get some of the gear that reflects how crazy your relationship really is. We strive to be more compassionate,
real,
accountable,
zealous,
and yielding.
And Lovey doesn't yield a lot, so
I said we strive. I didn't say we are.
Okay.
I said we strive.
All right.
I'm going to recommend that each and every one of you out there go over to our Facebook community. It's called Iron Tribe, the marriage community, and join, because we're going to have a major announcement at the end of this month. And the only place that we're going to be making the announcement initially is going to be in our Iron Tribe Facebook group. We're going to schedule a live within that group And if you want to hear what's going on, I think that it's going to be beneficial for you and those you love that are in relationships. So you definitely want to go ahead and subscribe to Iron Tribe, the Facebook community. So Iron Tribe, the marriage community.
Okay.
So go and do that. So back to your thought.
I forgot.
Did you really?
I promise I did. And I kept saying in my head, don't forget, don't forget.
We're talking about gender rules.
Okay.
Gender roles.
Okay.
And how I was saying that this is starting to feel like an attack on the masculinity of men to a certain extent. Now, mind you.
Got you. Okay, so what I was going to say is, you know, on social media and stuff, excuse me, I'm trying to talk louder. On social media, we see all these posts, and, you know, we fall in love with dad who's combing the girl's hair and fixing her up and doing all that stuff at home.
Mm-hmm.
And we just think it's so cute and yay, go dad and all that. So, I mean, why is that a thing then? If we don't care about, I won't say if we don't care about it, you know, would that be a problem? Is that a gender role thing? Would that be a problem if he took his wife's last name? Do you know what I'm saying? I just these is random thoughts in my crazy beautiful brain.
I get what you're saying, because
I'm just saying
we're celebrating him for getting in touch with
his whatever, his daddiness or something. I don't know what.
I don't want
what
to
it
say the
is.
feminine side. It's getting in touch with that sensitivity,
daddiness.
that connected. Well, yeah, straight up, right? Because if you're a dad, you got to be able to do it all. Now, mind you, I combed my girls' hair when they were little. Nobody appreciated it. Did it look a hot mess? Absolutely.
Okay, but we're not sending my baby out looking a hot mess so
I
that
will
we
say
could
these
applaud
fellas on
dad.
Instagram and stuff, y'all doing the dang thing, because
Yeah,
the kids are looking good.
Mm-hmm.
They're not looking like some what I pieced together. I have my daughters looking like Frankenstein hair.
That there it is right there. You pieced it together. I feel like these dudes, they took the time, they learned. I mean, I'm sure they
I
didn't
was
just.
doing what I could do.
Bae, stop. I'm just saying.
Dog,
I'm not trying to hair shame
Don't touch
you.
me.
Now you've been sensitive.
Daddy shaming me. Go.
No, I'm just saying. You know, I don't know why we expect the woman. It's just automatic. You take my last name, just like automatically for a lot of households. You know, the woman's role. Coming back to that, cooking, and you know, there's certain things that are unwritten rules that I'm sure a lot of people don't even talk about. Like, yeah, you're gonna cook. I'll take out the garbage. You're gonna do the bathroom. I'll mop the floor. You know, those kind of things.
You mow the lawn. You do the outside work.
Exactly. It's just a given that that's what you're gonna do. So, and I bring this up. I find it to be kind of funny. So one day last week, what day was that? I was in the office. So Thursday, it had to be Thursday. I came home. Everybody is home now, except they all got here first, or they were here.
I wasn't here. I was away on business.
Oh, then it wasn't that day then. It was one day you were here. Everyone was home.
See, I almost got out of it.
You almost did. But no, I knew that you were here though. So anyway, I'm in the kitchen. And the youngest one comes downstairs and she puts her elbows on the counter and she says, "Mom." I'm like, "Yeah, what's up? Is there dinner?"
Mind you,
I said, "Is there? I don't know."
Well, the youngest one is the only one in the house with no job. That been sitting around either doing nothing all day or kicking it with her friends, which is also doing nothing all day.
But I say that because then the other two chime in also.
Who's the other two?
Who else lives here? You and the other girl.
Okay.
They both chime in also, like, yeah, is there dinner? Like, we're confused about where the nourishment is going to come from. And I'm like, I know y'all shame. Said, I don't know if there's dinner because I ate a big lunch. I'm not hungry.
See, we show up looking like them little baby birds that are looking up to the mama bird, chirp, 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 waiting to be fed. As soon as she walks through the door, that's exactly what it looks like. You ever seen those documentaries or those those nature shows where the baby birds are sitting in the nest and they're just sitting there quiet and they're just chilling. But the moment mama bird flies in, chirp, 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 they're just going nuts and they're just chirping away and they're waiting for the mama bird to like regurgitate and give them food.
I think that's funny. Well, I mean, it's funny now because it's not, nothing happened that day. I was like, first of all,
See, there's a weakness in our house. Look, oh, we got a podcast. We're supposed to be experts. Oh, we good. We know some stuff.
we know a lot of stuff.
I still want my
We
wife
just
to
don't
cook.
implement it.
I'm just saying. I know. Is it fair? No, because
He said,
it's
I
not
still want
fair.
my wife to cook.
It is not fair. I work. She works. We come home. Sometimes I get home before her. Sometimes she's home all day because she gets to work from home.
Okay, but don't make it sound like I'm just at home chilling.
She's just sitting here watching soap operas.
Wow.
Watching Days of Our Lives. and
Whatever.
Whatever else the shows are
That's
these
not
days.
happening.
And it's not fair by any means, but it is this crazy gender role. And it's all tied together, folks. So when you look at Eric Moran and him changing his name, and then the discussion that we had last week, and it is an interesting topic because there are people out there that are doing that, and it's like they're not the norm. But I just wonder. We're looking at so many different things that are happening in society. Is this the deconstruction of society? And I said in the podcast that I'm not mad at Eric because of his rationale for what he did. I just don't know how viable it would be. How would I feel if my son said, I'm getting married and
Yeah.
I'd be
that's
bent.
it. That's
I would
it.
be bent out of shape.
It's a very good question.
I'd be bent because he's the last case in our family line.
No, he's not. We have a grandson. His name is Isaiah. He's Kaysen.
That's
So,
true.
Yeah.
I'd have
There-
to separate them so he
there-
doesn't learn them wily ways.
there is another boy that will carry on the name.
Yeah, that is interesting. I guess I am a Neanderthal in this respect because I'm admitting it.
I mean, it is what it is as far as what you feel comfortable with. It's whatever is your comfort level. It's just, I feel like it just should not be an expectation that this is how it's going to go. That's just me. This is how it's going to go. We're going to, get married. My last name is changing and I'm going to cook all the dinners.
So so let's just say in Eric Moran's case or anybody else's case where the groom took the bride's last name.
Mm-hmm.
Historically and traditionally, what ends up happening is when it's all said and done and they get married and the person that is overseeing the service turns to everyone and says, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Mr. and Mrs. Ernest Kaysen. So now is it, ladies and gentlemen, introducing Mrs. and Mr.
Oh my gosh.
Ronna Jones.
Why would it be that?
Why
Just
not? Why not? Why wouldn't it be that? Because
I just feel like now you're just being extra.
But look at it. No, okay. Look at the order of operations. So if you took the groom's name,
Mm-hmm.
right? So then it becomes Mr. and Mrs. Ernest Kaysen because you took the groom's name.
No.
Yes.
That's not that's why.
I think so. Why not?
I'm just I
Okay,
don't
so tell me what is the reason then for saying, Mr. and Mrs. Ernest Kaysen?
because we always say Mr. and Mrs. Mr. and Mrs.
And we always
Mr. and
the
Mrs.
bride
Ernest Jones.
and the bride always takes the
Not
groom's
always.
name. It's a new development. So you're talking about tradition. We always did this. We always say Mr. and Mrs. But we also always used to have the bride take the groom's last name. So if we're not doing that,
I'll bite. Okay.
so if we're not doing that, so then does it change to Mrs. and Mr. because he's taking her name? Is
So
it Mrs. and Mr.
Mrs. and Mr.
Ronna Jones?
It could be, I guess. How would you feel? Not us, but
It would be
you-
the fastest divorce in
what?
right there in the moment. Like
What?
boom, ain't happening. 'Cause first off, you're not going to spring it on them. Like, wait, there's a surprise ending to this wedding.
You're not going to spring it on who? I mean, you would
No, I mean,
you
it
would
would-
have had to already agree.
Exactly that. So it wouldn't be.
But what do you mean fastest divorce?
I'd be like, I just like if somebody would have sprung that on me, like, oh, we're gonna switch up the game. Like I could see that being one of those TV shows where those reality shows where all of a sudden somebody's like, oh, we're getting married, and they have all this stuff. You're talking about Bridezilla. Oh, here comes Groomzilla, because
gosh.
Now it's
So
like,
because you're not even making no sense. So because he is taking her last name, now all of a sudden he has a whole bunch of estrogen or something. That's kind of what you're making it sound like. Because he's Groomzilla. That's
well, it's taken
no,
after,
now you're just
it's after
being ridiculous.
Godzilla. No, the only reason why you're Bridezilla comes after Godzilla, right? Because Godzilla was a monster.
However, whatever.
Destroyed everything in its path.
Yeah.
Okay, so the brides were crazy in these TV shows or whatever, these reality shows.
Yeah.
And so they call it Bridezilla. But you're automatically saying it because, okay, now what if there was a show, Groomzilla, where the groom was the problem?
No,
that was the issue.
I'm not saying that. You said
I said Groomzilla.
Groomzilla, and I feel like you're saying that because he's taking her last name. Like, oh, now all of a sudden he's gonna have all this estrogen, and he's gonna freak out about how his tuxedo fits or whatever.
Yes.
You're so ridiculous. That's ridiculous. That's dumb.
I just think that.
So that just changes the whole DNA of the
so
whole man.
here's what we're doing. Here's what we're doing.
You
right
didn't
here.
even answer the question. That just changes all the DNA. This whole man now has a ton of estrogen added to him because he is not going to keep his last name.
This is going to be one of the
He's
most
gonna
controversial podcasts in the history of the Married and the Crazy.
I'm asking you a question.
Because I'm about to get in trouble.
Lovey's not even answering the question, so therefore, you won't even actually let me even finish the question.
Here we go. Team Snooks, Team Lovey.
I'm rolling my eyes right
No,
now.
so how are we going to form this? So
We're not going to form anything. You just answer
you
the
think
question.
you think it's absolutely 100% okay for every occasion for
I'm not answering anything until you answer my question.
what was your question?
I said you're saying that because he's taking her last name, now all of a sudden he has all this estrogen.
I mean, physically, no. I mean, I know he doesn't have a whole bunch of
So
estrogen.
I know, but I'm saying the premise behind it. So now because he is not keeping his last name, he lost his
I think there's
Adam's
some-
apple. He lost his bass in his voice, and now he's going to be
and his
running
cojones
around.
just went right back up.
You're stupid.
Yeah, I do feel as if there is some demasculinization by taking the bride's name, unless it's under some very unique circumstances.
It is unique to them. I just want to keep my last name, and I want you to take it.
I guess I just have a challenge with that.
Obviously,
I'm a very traditional person, I guess, more so than what I thought. I feel like I'm very enlightened in a lot of areas, but in this particular case,
bruh, you wasn't traditional when we first got married because you were supposed to be
a
making.
virgin. What? Why are you laughing? I was a born-again virgin when we met.
Oh, good Lord. I'm saying the traditional way is, the man makes the money, blah, blah, blah. When we first got married, I made more money.
Oh,
So now,
we're going there.
no, I'm just saying, you're talking about tradition and all that.
Well, sometimes, okay, so I'm talking tradition, not circumstances. So the circumstances were that, yeah, you made more. You made twice as much as I did at the time.
I don't know if it was twice, but
It was pretty
okay.
darn close.
Anyway, go.
For any, you definitely made twice as much as any of my one jobs. I had 3 jobs. And you still made substantially more than I did with those 3 jobs that I was working.
I'm just.
But you single out any one of those, and you definitely.
Okay.
You
So anyway, move on with your point.
No, I'm just saying.
Neanderthal.
But tradition. Okay, so that circumstance, though. Circumstance is that, based on the circumstances, I was making less than you. That doesn't mean that it precludes you from being in a relationship with someone.
No, I'm just talking about the tradition because you were saying I'm traditional, blah blah blah, whatever. Tradition says the man takes care of the woman, right?
Survey says yes.
Okay, I was just asking. Anyway, make your point.
You got to give some time for somebody to catch up.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
You have to let the brother
I'm sorry.
catch up.
Dun, 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 dun,
Anyway, so I said yes.
Okay. So I said make your point or whatever you was trying to say.
I don't even remember what my point is. What I
Because
was
it was
going to say.
probably ridiculous.
My point was going to be let's get into Team Snooks, Team Lovey.
Oh, see, you did remember. Go ahead.
So here's what we're going to do, folks. We're putting this on y'all. This is on you. So what we're going to need you to do is go to social media. Dun, dun, dun. We need you to actually jump over to social media. I'm going to create a post. And in that post, or maybe in one of the videos, we're going to have Team Snooks, Team Levy. Vote Team Snooks. If everybody, when you think, yeah, it's cool, you can, the husband should take the wife's name.
No one said anything about should.
That was the vibe. That was the vibe I got from you. That was the vibe I got from you. And Team Levy is,
gosh.
we should remain traditional,
Lord.
and
You're
wives should take the name of their groom.
You're so extra
husband.
right now. First of all, they should do whatever it is that they want to do that makes them comfortable, right? Right.
Right.
Okay, so.
See, today, we just married into crazy. There's no compassion. There's no real. There's no accountable. There's no
I'm
zealous.
being
There's no
real.
yielding.
I'm being compassionate.
This is just straight up crazy.
Oh,
So we
good
just
Lord.
being this is married into 5150 right now. Let's go. Let's go. I'm listening. Oh, it's a competition. No. So
Levy is tripping. Anyway, I mean, I just find it to be, because actually I talked about this with a couple other guys, and they're saying the same nonsense that you were saying. I just said they just haven't evolved yet. Whatever. But
evolution's I'm under construction.
that is funny. No, I mean, I just don't feel like I feel like you're more threatened by the name thing than anything else. I don't know why. Well, for you, because of the way that you described it last week, as far as you were the only boy,
Right.
so that meant something to you, as far as that goes.
That's a component of it. The more I think about it, that's not the only reason. That is a primary reason, but it is, a component. But now, I mean, I feel like I'm also just a male chauvinist
Okay.
to a certain extent as well. And I'm just being
Okay.
honest. I mean,
I'm not mad at it. Go ahead.
I almost feel as if it's. I hate to say this because
Sacrilegious.
No, well, sort of, but almost like it's a rite of passage
For the man.
for the man.
For the woman to take his name.
Yeah, because if you're the head of the household, to a certain extent, that's just how we look at it. You're the protector, the provider. Not that even when you provide, it's not even about the monetary provision. Because I got no qualms about. I don't care who makes the money, because in my mind, it supports the family, regardless of whether you. Trust me, I would have no problems if you were the millionaire, taking care of your trophy husband.
Oh, my pool man.
Yeah, hey, not the pool man, trophy husband. Why you gotta bring somebody else into it?
Oh, you would have been my pool man too.
Oh, okay. I'm just saying. I'm the husband, and
First of
I
all,
got it on
if
tape.
I get
Y'all
a pool
y'all
man,
heard it.
I'm not gonna be taking care of him. Just saying, there's that. So
Okay, we'll be taking care of the house lady too.
we wouldn't have one.
We ain't getting no pool
You
man
ain't
either.
got you ain't got no job. I'm taking care of you. You gonna clean the house.
Hey man, butt naked.
Just don't sit on the couch.
Look, but
Anyway,
no. Excuse me. Sorry. I think it's funny where here we are, folks, 25 years later in our marriage, and having this discussion, and we are very real right now. We were very real because my mind is like kind of tripping on this to where I think that
yeah, you are tripping, but go ahead.
now, to a certain extent, there's a rite of passage that's involved with becoming a husband, and one of them is being that individual where I share my name with you.
Okay.
And I think even if it's hyphenated, what I mean? But to take on the bride's name, it's a bit challenging.
So
Unless there's like some really distinct, like it was the last of the name. It's there's got to be, to me, some extenuating circumstances.
So and I don't want to say I'm switching gears or whatever, but I guess I kind of am a little. So here's my thing. I feel like there should be more emphasis placed on how the husband is treating the wife versus what the last name is. Don't tell me you want me to take your name and, oh, take my name and that's a rite of passage and this and that or whatever, but then you're not treating me like a rite of passage, like I'm all of that, like I'm.
Oh yeah, if you're gonna
You
be
know
my
what I'm
king, yeah, I
saying?
get it. If you're gonna be my king, I'm your queen, and you want me to take your name because the kingdom is in your name, then treat me like a queen.
I'm the queen
Exactly, right? So treat me like that's
and not
okay,
Maleficent,
right?
kicked out of
No,
the kingdom.
I get it. I totally get it. It's like don't have me take your name and then you turn around and call me out my name.
I like that.
So I totally get that, and
I'm just saying, that just kind of came to me. There's a lot of men who, and some of the men that I've talked to,
she's
have
related
that have that by marriage. Have
to. No, that's in her blood, in her blood. Anyway,
anyway, but a lot of they have that type of mindset. I call it Neanderthal or whatever because I like to say caveman and stuff like that. I'm like, I need you to hop to it, get with the times, whatever it is. But the mindset is, you take my name because you're my wife, and I'm your possession, but you're not gonna treat me like how you're acting like it's so important for me, I'm sorry, to have your name. Does that make sense?
it does.
Okay, good. Because I was trying to get it together.
Yes, it does, Mrs. Kaysen.
Thanks, Mr. Jones. No,
Oh, no. That is not where we're going with this.
that's like a funny.
So now you're going to make me be the podfather.
Oh, good God.
I'm going to have to tell you what you need to do or else you're going to be visited by some guys in the middle of the night.
Lovey, first
My
of all.
cousins. Once I find them, are going to come around. So it's, let us know your thoughts. I still say we should do Team Snooks, Team Lovey.
I mean, I'm not saying that, the man has to take his wife's name or whatever. I just feel like if that's what they want to do, obviously is what they want to do. I feel like there's more to it than just a name. What's in a name? It's about how you treat me. It's about how you make me feel. It's about how we are with each other,
True. Well, you say what's in a name. It should be all about what if your name had a coat of armor. If your name represented a coat of arms, like in the medieval times where you had, this is the house of whatever.
Like a crest and
Yeah,
all
a
that
crest.
kind of
There
stuff.
you go, a crest. If your name had a crest, it should represent something.
Mm-hmm.
What happens when that crest is like, oh, this is the Kaysen crest, and these are the 4 quadrants, and each of these represent honor and truthfulness, love, dedication. Oh, there's the Jones crest from her. It represents a whole bunch of other stuff. Well, now we just completely negated
A whole bunch
the
of
Kaysen
stuff.
crest
You're like,
because that's not being handed down through the generations. Now we get the one that has 4 quadrants, has embroidery and cooking. And I'm just playing. You should see that look she just gave me. But it's one of those things where your name should mean something. Not that the bride's name doesn't mean something. It does. But I feel as if when the man is actually, proposing, and I've seen stuff on social media where, now women are proposing, to the man.
I know someone who proposed to their husband.
And again, I feel like as if there's a form of demasculinization that's taken place, and it's not about toxic masculinity, because I know that kind of is a thing. That is a thing when you have a bunch of men that are making choices for women about what they can and can't do with their body. And I know that there's some philosophical and some philosophical differences that arise with that, and I don't want to go there. But anything in too much of that pendulum swings in any direction too far, it can be a bad thing. Masculinity swung too far to the left is a horrible thing. Femininity swung too far in the other direction, for male or female, could be too much of a thing. There has to be a balance. Women do have testosterone in their bodies. Men do have estrogen in their bodies. So there's a place for the masculine and feminine energies within a relationship for both males and females. But it cannot be out of balance. I think that there is a preset, a preordained reason for us to have the balances that we have. Let's call it 80-20. 80%, masculine for men, 20% estrogen, and then 80% estrogen for women and 20%. And those aren't accurate. That's not accurate. I'm just throwing it out there for visuals.
No, but I mean, like you said, we both have male estrogen and testosterone.
And I feel as if there's an element of that as well when it comes to some of our traditions. And I do believe that it's there for a reason. Now, are there exceptions to every rule? Absolutely.
Well, that's not a rule. So.
It's not a rule, but I'm just using it as a form. Are there exceptions to the rule? If the rule was women should take the groom's name when they get married, let's call that the rule, because it has been the rule for a gazillion years, so to speak. Then, are there exceptions to that? There can be. I think in Eric Moran's case, that was an intellectual move. It was a very passionate move, a very compassionate move. And I felt like, you know what? I'm not mad at him. And I stated as much. And I still stand by that in his particular case, you know what? Yeah, that was actually maybe a good move because of the intentionality behind it. But as far as everybody like, oh yeah, I like the sound of her name. Like, okay, if my name is, I don't know, something crazy. I don't know, if my name is something I've been made fun of my name the entire lives, and it's this name that I just don't like. There's no honor. There's no whatever. I don't know. But her name sounds really cool, and I really like the sound of it. All right, that might be rule enough or reason enough to do it. But just to do, I do have a challenge with that, and I think we're just going to leave it there. Because I'm just getting myself in trouble. If we ever get hate mail, this will be the episode where I get the hate mail, not so much you.
First of all, I would never get hate mail, so there's that. I don't think that you're going to get yourself in trouble or anything. You feel the way that you feel. You stated your reasons for it. It is whatever. We don't condemn anyone who follows a different pattern, or if that's what
I might judge you like that art that you get in the books over at the tattoo store, but no, just playing. that was a throwback to the last episode. It's an inside joke. If you don't get it, go back and listen to episode 195.
What are you talking about now?
No, go ahead.
Anyway, I forgot what I was saying.
I'm sorry. Look, bottom line is we're not judgy. It's just we just have a certain thing.
We know I'm not judgy. We all know.
We all know that I can occasionally be judgy.
No, I don't even think that you're being judgy. I'm not a man, so I don't know that I could relate to it the way that you relate to it, because like you said earlier, if it's like a rite of passage or something, to a certain whatever extent, you said, whatever you were talking about over there.
She wasn't listening. She's like, she was like, ooh,
No, but you know what I'm saying? So I don't look at it the same way that you look at it in regards to the feelings you have about changing your name or my name having been changed, or that for me it's like some people don't wear wedding rings. And I don't know that I could be without a wedding ring, because I'm like, I don't know why. I want people to know that I'm married. I'm like, no, somebody did want me, but that's
I want people to know you married too.
But you know what I'm saying.
You're just going to crack my watch. Dang, sorry. Girl, you trying to break my watch.
Sorry, my bad. These diamonds.
No, I feel you.
No, but you know what I'm saying? So that I guess the wedding ring thing would be what wedding rings are to me is what last names are to you. Maybe. Okay. You know what I'm saying?
I feel you.
So I understand the passion behind it. I don't condemn anyone who doesn't wear a wedding ring, but it's near and dear to my heart for me. I don't leave the house without it. I mean, we'll be late somewhere if I can't find it. If whatever.
We laid somewhere. She can't find a toothpick. So anyway.
I keep dental floss in my purse. I know you're ashamed. Anyway.
But no, I get you. I mean, and look, the bottom line, quite honestly, through all of this, the common denominator, if you want to call it that, or just, let me just put the exclamation point on this entire conversation. Do whatever it is that you need to do regarding last names, all that, that's going to enable you to have a thriving, committed, loving marriage.
A loving, crazy marriage.
We're back to compassionate, real, accountable, zealous, and yielding. So, whatever it takes, Eric Moran changed his name out of love, out of having compassion for his wife. And when it's all said and done, that's all that matters. And so, whether everybody else understands or not, because I don't 100% understand all the way, but what I do understand is love. I do understand commitment. I do understand that I want a thriving relationship. And whatever your algorithm is to get you there, A, do your thing. Do you. So that's it. So
the Podfather has spoken.
The Podfather has spoken. So until the next time, be blessed.
Bye-bye.